AWS, Harley here. I've got a project coming up in a couple months that requires measuring things in grams. I'm born and bred here in the United States, and grams don't mean a whole lot to me. So to kind of put that in perspective, a nickel, a US nickel, is 5 grams, and a penny is 2.5 grams. 1,000 grams, a kilogram, is about 2.2 pounds. So I needed to measure things that are very light, and all I had available to me was a kitchen scale that measured up to 10 to 12 pounds, or a bathroom scale, neither of which worked well with measuring down in these low ranges. So I went out to Amazon and did some searching around, and based on reviews, I picked up this little scale. It's made by AWS, and it's a Blade 1 kilogram digital pocket scale, 1/10 of a gram accuracy, backlit display, includes 2 AAA batteries. So we'll open the box, take a look at it, do some initial tests, and see what it looks like. Up the unboxing, I kind of cleared off the table, got rid of everything, so we really have a vinyl case, a little hard plastic protection case that the thing fits in, and the scale itself. It's 2.7 inches square, and is designed, I think actually this was designed for a food scale. It's small enough to kind of carry with you if you're on a diet, so you can measure the quantity of food you're taking in. To open it up, you just push and it pops open, and now we have a little display up here with 3 buttons. We've got an on-off button, a mode button, and the tare button. On-off just does exactly what it says. Mode allows you to switch between grams, ounces, troy ounces, and pennyweight. I've heard of troy ounces. I think it's used in jewelry making. I've never heard of pennyweight. I'm not sure what that does or what that's used for. And then tare allows us to put something on here and zero out the scale to be able to weigh just the contents of what's in there. So let's turn this on. Speaking of power, you noticed in the unboxing the batteries were put in backwards with a little plastic tab in there. So during the unboxing process, I put the batteries in properly and took the tab out so that it would work. But they put that in there for shipping so it doesn't drain the batteries. So we turn it on, it comes up in default mode of grams with 00. We've got some pennies here. According to the US Mint website, pennies are supposed to be 2.5 grams. We'll take a look and see what we end up with here. This one is, this one's 3.1 grams, which is a little heavy. Not sure what's going on there. This one shows 2.4, and this one says 2.5, and this one says another 2.5. This one shows 2.6, 2.5, 2.6. That one also says 3.1. I wonder if they change the weights sometime in the over time. That one says 2.6. This one says 3 also. I'm guessing these are probably older pennies based on their color. That's a 76. This one is an 81. This one says, ooh, 59. Wow, that's an old penny. So apparently older pennies weigh more than newer pennies do. These are all look much newer based on their color. And looking at the years, yeah, these are all within the last decade or so. Here's one from earlier, from the 90s. But yeah, these are all not 90s and 2000s, so they're apparently somewhere in the probably late 80s. Sounds like they probably changed the weight. So 4 pennies here should be 10 grams if things are calculating right, and right at 10.1. So this looks like it's weighing pretty well. And we'll just for grins and giggles, I've got some nickels here. Nickels are supposed to be 5 grams, and 5 and 10 and 14.9 and 19.9. So yeah, they seem to be adding up. Looks like it's working pretty well for these ranges of weights. I've got a 1 1/4 pound weight. This is, I did some conversion. I think this is supposed to be 567 grams. We'll see if that fits on there and what it weighs out to. It shows 587 grams, but you know, it's just a weight. Cut 20 grams, I'm sure, is well within tolerance for just an iron weight for working out with. And that one shows exactly the same. So I'm guessing it's probably these that are more inaccurate than the scale itself from what I've seen so far with the pennies and such. So I'm going to call this kind of a good. The mode you just cycle through to get the different weighting systems. And let's give tare a try. So if we put something on here that we're going to use as a container, that comes out to be 141 grams. We hit tare and it resets to 0. So now we can weigh just the contents. And we'll do some of our older pennies, so that should be like 9 right on the nose. There we go. 9.4. So it looks like those were 3.1 grams in the earlier older pennies. So it looks like everything works well. I did find after the unboxing that inside the box stuffed in there, there was a user's manual, which I didn't see it in the initial unboxing. I did go online and find it. It's also available there at the manufacturer's website. This scale can be calibrated, which is kind of nice if it gets out of calibration. I don't have a calibration weight though. You need a 500 gram weight to be able to calibrate it, but you just hold down the mode button and it goes into calibration mode and automatically does its thing, and then it's done. So that's it for, I don't remember what I paid for. It was in the $22, $23 range, I think, on Amazon, maybe $18, something like that. Looks like it's, for my purposes, it's going to work really well. It's a nice, small, lightweight, looks like it's reasonably accurate. I recorded that video a couple weeks ago, and since then I've had an opportunity to use it. There were 2 features that I discovered that were not documented in the manual. First of all, it has an auto-off feature. When you let it sit for somewhere, I'm not sure what the exact timeout value is, it's somewhere less than a minute, probably 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Without having any changes in the weight, it would automatically turn itself off. The second feature that it had is when you did turn it on, anything that you had on the plate, it would calibrate that to be 0. It's kind of like the tare feature button that I mentioned earlier that automatically happens when you turn the device on. These 2 features individually seem like decent things to have. I can't complain about either one of them. However, when they're combined in the particular workflow that I was experiencing, they cause some problems. And I didn't find any way to be able to turn them off, which would have been nice. The workflow that I was doing was I'd weigh something out, I'd go do something, I'd come back to it and want to add to what I had already weighed out. And the problem, of course, was in that time period that I was away from it and came back to it, it had auto-turned itself off. Then when I turned it back on, of course, what was on there got zeroed out. So I had to do the math in terms of what was on there, what I was adding. I had to do all that in my head. It would have been nice, because I was looking for a total weight, it would have been nice if I could turn one of those features off, and then it would have worked exactly, perfectly for my workflow. Other than that one caveat, it worked really well. The accuracy seemed to be decent. I didn't have anything that was obviously wrong with it. Everything worked out in the end, as if the weights were correct. So I can't say that they were wrong. And it worked correctly every time, other than the one caveat. So overall, I think it was a good little scale, particularly for the price. So that's it for this review. Until next time, go make something. It doesn't have to be perfect, just have fun.